Looking at very low numbers of resumption because most of the corporate companies, they are still holding their meetings virtually and there's no requirement for food.
Even so, Manna Pot's sales team has tailored some of its buffet packages in anticipation of corporate sales demands. In the meantime, it will continue to bank on bento set sales as its main source of revenue until restrictions are further eased.
A piece of history-making as Japan's Hideki Matsuyama scales golf's pinnacle. The 29-year-old is the new Masters champion, the first Japanese man to win this major. Matsuyama closed out what was a slim one-shot victory. He is the second Asian male after South Korea's Y.E. Young to win a major. Matsuyama hopes the win will inspire more Japanese to take up the sport.
そうですね。これまで、メジャーで勝てなかったことが僕が勝ったことによってこれから先日本人がすごく変わっていくんじゃないかなと思って、それに僕がもっともっと勝てるように頑張りたいなと思ってます。
Matsuyama's conquest has been hailed by Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga as an amazing feat. Mr. Suga added the win is a source of pride and courage for the Japanese people, especially amid this COVID-19 crisis. Now, with this memorable win, might it have brightened up Matsuyama's prospect of lighting the cauldron for the Tokyo Olympics?
僕はやらない。その試合のスケジュールもいろいろ考えて。タイミングがあったらやるかもしれないですけど、現実的ではない。
Golf's two top in the all-time winning majors list also thrilled by Matsuyama's win. A recuperating Tiger Woods claiming that the win will impact the entire golf world. Jack Nicklaus, who has 18 majors to his name, says that he's not only very happy and pleased for Hideki, but also the golfing fraternity. Well, Asia Now will continue the next hour. We will check the top stories, including a record number of COVID-19 infections, leading India to a bleak milestone. And later, New Zealand border workers told to get vaccinated or risk being redeployed.
Look forward to brighter skies. The weather, sponsored by Qatar Airways. The weather, sponsored by Qatar Airways.
This April, take a peek into the unknown, uncover dark truths, and rediscover a legacy. Midnight Story. The unprecedented access to NASA's satellite imagery. Rediscover the Singapore you never knew after dark. Undercover Asia, a deadly gamble. Uncover the ugly truth behind online gambling and the inner workings of dangerous syndicates. Belly of a Nation. Step into the lives of a generation of family-owned hawker stalls known for their scrumptious popular dishes. This April on CMA.
COVID-19 was a real wake-up call as to how vulnerable our food security situation is.
COVID-19 acts as a catalyst to start thinking about using technology in education.
We want to make sure that our future dorms are more resilient to pandemics.
The Singapore hospitality industry, we are survivors, we are fighters.
Watch Our New Normal on demand at cna.asia.
Follow the beats and keep on grooving in the energetic district of Gangnam. Explore where you can learn traditional Korean moves before upping the tempo with the latest K-pop routines. From the latest in hip-hop to the basics in tap dancing, Gangnam has it all. Gangnam Insiders Picks, Sunday on CNA. This program is brought to you by the Gangnam Gu office. This is Asia Now.
Hello there, it's 6 p.m. in Singapore and Hong Kong, 3:30 in New Delhi and 5 o'clock in Jakarta. I'm Oteli Edwards. At this hour, India overtakes Brazil to become the world's second worst hit country by COVID-19. Nearly 170,000 infections logged in the past 24 hours, a new record. South Korea finds no link between COVID-19 vaccines and deaths after vaccination. 47 people there died within days of receiving AstraZeneca and Pfizer jabs. And Myanmar's ousted leader Aung San Suu Kyi hit with a fresh criminal charge, this time for violating the country's COVID-19 rules. India has overtaken Brazil as the second worst hit country by COVID-19 as infections continue to soar. Close to 170,000 new cases have been reported, another record daily spike. So that takes the national tally past 13.5 million, surpassing Brazil's 13.4 million cases. Well, authorities are considering a lockdown in Maharashtra. Rebecca Bundan tells us more.
Now, there is this talk by the government of Maharashtra, they're discussing this at the moment, whether there is a need for a full extended lockdown to come into effect, perhaps for a couple of weeks even. They're apparently discussing the duration, also looking at factors such as the economic impact of this, of course, as well. A lot of businesses are very concerned should something like this come into effect. On the one hand, we do have the Indian government and other authorities saying that one of the main factors behind this huge surge in cases that we're seeing, people not following COVID-19 appropriate behaviour, not wearing masks, not observing social distancing, cases of pandemic fatigue, people just not following those precautions. But then, on the other hand, there have been these religious gatherings. We've seen the Kumbh Mela taking place on the banks of the Ganges, hundreds of thousands of people gathering there for that holy dip, and people just not following social distancing precautions at all, people not wearing masks, which is extremely worrying, of course, given the way that these cases are rising. And there have been all those election rallies taking place with key state elections happening in India. We've seen even the Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressing rallies where people are not following safe distancing, not wearing masks, just huge crowds that have gathered. So that's been a huge concern, given the way that these cases are rising, that there is that contradiction at these political, religious events. We're still seeing huge crowds that are gathering, and that's surely only going to facilitate the spread of the virus, doctors say.
Well, South Korea confirms there is no direct link between COVID-19 vaccination and 11 recent deaths. They say all the victims had pre-existing diseases which were likely to have caused their death. 47 people died within days of receiving AstraZeneca and Pfizer's jabs. South Korea has also resumed the rollout of AstraZeneca's vaccine to eligible recipients. People under 30 are excluded. The country had suspended using the vaccine for those under 60 last week. That's after 3 cases of blood clots were reported. 2 of the patients were in their 20s.
30세 미만은 아스트라제네카 백신 접종 대상에서 제외합니다. 이는 유럽의약품청과 영국 등이 희귀혈전증을 아스트라제네카 백신 접종의 부작용으로 분류한 것을 반영하여 과학적 분석 결과에 근거한 것입니다. 30세 미만의 경우에는 백신 접종으로 유발할 수 있는 희귀혈전증으로 인한 위험이 접종으로 인한 이득이 크지 않은 것으로 판단하였기 때문입니다.
Global controversy over the efficacy of the AstraZeneca shot threatens to derail vaccination efforts in numerous Asia-Pacific and lower-income countries. But the WHO and drug regulators in Britain and the EU say the benefits outweigh any risks. South Korea kicked off its vaccination program in late